Hey everyone, welcome back to Nia Natters. This is episode 8, and today we're going to be talking about creating habits that stick, the science of long lasting change. So, a habit. How do I explain what a habit is? They are things that you do consistently over time that become a part of your normal day without you even thinking about doing it. So, for example, let's just say a bad habit would be waking up and then, as soon as your eyes open, checking your phone. And you do it unconsciously because you're so used to doing that. And although some people are like, well, it doesn't affect me, it is classed as a bad habit. But these habits are key to personal growth because they provide consistency in your life. So let's just say that to personally develop, you need to do something or not do something consistently. So every day you would work towards not doing something, such as, let's just say, biting your nails. Let's say you're a nail biter. And you have to go through every day then saying, oh, I can't bite my nails today. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't bite my nails today. It's been 21 days since I haven't bitten my nails, and 21 days is apparently the mark of where a habit is formed. So you have to go through a consistent 21 days before a specific habit has become a part of your normal routine. Another one would be, let's just say you're working on a skill or you need to study for something to pass an exam that would help you career-wise. And you have to study it every single day up to that exam. That is a good habit to have because then you know that you're doing the work to get the best possible outcome of the exam. So that would mean that you're more likely to be successful than the person who just studies when they feel like it and hasn't formed that habit as a result. Habits shape our daily lives. So, for example, you could say that you brush your teeth in the morning, that's a habit because you've done it all your life. And then you have to form the habit of brushing your teeth in the night because that's the suggested amount of brushing that your dentist recommends. So even though you're so used to brushing your teeth in the morning, the next thing you have to work on is brushing your teeth at night after you've had all of the food that's going to rot your teeth, and then throwing in potentially flossing as well. And even though those things, sometimes you might feel, oh, I don't have to do this. Like, why am I doing this? What is the benefits? But because you're doing them so consistently, let's just say, like I said, with the teeth brushing, you don't see the downside of not doing it. So sometimes you will question, oh, why am I doing this if I can't see a difference? You would see a difference if you stopped. But the point is to not to stop because you don't want to see your teeth deteriorate. In terms of long-term goals as well, you need habits to build up along these long-term goals. They don't have to be the same habit though. That's an important part of it, I suppose. But your habits will fluctuate and change over a long-term goal, but it will all add up. It might even be that the first habit that you have moves into the second habit, and then a third habit happens because of the first two, and that's how you make your way towards your long-term goal. Let's just take my partner Sam, for example. He started learning English, and for the first, let's just say, couple of weeks, he learnt it for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then he increased the time. So that's consistency and that is habit building. He's now got a habit of studying English once a day for an hour. And then he increased it to 2. And then he increased it to 3, and then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8. True story, by the way. He is just very disciplined. And then because he'd studied all that time, in the middle of this, by the way, I came along and we started chatting, and I helped him with his English as well. But he would still study 8 hours a day. And over time, like, he had formed a long-term goal of meeting me. And throughout that, in order to be able to speak to me and for that to happen, he would either have to go to another country or come to the UK, to work or something like that. There's no way he would have been able to come over here for a trip at that point. There was COVID, there was all sorts. So part of his long-term goal were these little habits of consistency to maintain his English or improve his English, so that then he got to the point where he could take his, his English, like, the UK does this test that makes sure that you are proficient, that's the word, are proficient in English in order to come over here and study, or something like that. And he came out, I think, one of the top marks because he'd cultivated this habit. Now imagine if he hadn't been so strict with himself and left a potential unknown in this possibility where, let's just say, he didn't study as hard and then he took the test because he still wanted the same long-term goal and he didn't make it, and we wouldn't even be together at this point, And obviously there's different paths to it, but if you do want to achieve a long-term goal, you will have to be consistent to a certain degree, albeit that might change depending on how circumstances change, but you will always need to have a habit at some point to do something. Habits are also good for our overall mindset as well. It provides consistency in our day-to-day routines, our weekly routines. It makes us be comfortable and know where we stand. So one of my examples is that I'm pretty much the same on what I do every day. My commute days and non-commute days to work slightly differ, but for the most part, they are the same. So I can tell you for sure that on my commute days, I will wake up at 7:30, I will leave the house at 8 o'clock, I'll start work at 9 o'clock after commuting, and then I'll work, have lunch at 1 o'clock, probably go out for a walk for some sunlight, and then I'll commute back at 5:30, get home by about 6:15, relax for literally 15 minutes, and then at 6:30 until 7:30, I go and do my coaching business. Links in the bio, by the way. And then at 7:30, I start streaming or gaming until 9:30. 9:30 till 10 is my Chinese learning. Sometimes it goes a little bit over, but I really don't mind that. And then, say about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I go and shower. And then after I shower, I get into bed, I journal and set my plan up again for the next day and go to sleep. And I gotta be fair, since doing this has only been like a few weeks of doing this, but I feel so much better in myself. My headaches have reduced because I'm up and I'm going to bed at the right time and I'm stretching on non-commute days. So non-commute days, I stretch in the morning before work. I wake up at about 8:15. I stretch at about 8:30 and then start work at 9. Same time, go out and have a walk at 1 o'clock. Finish work at 5:30 and then until 7:30. So instead of 1 hour, I do 2 hours of business coaching unless I'm going to the gym. And then I'll stream or play games then. And the cycle repeats, basically. It doesn't really differ that much, but as you can see, it is ingrained in my brain now. So, but I've been like waking up on weekends at a good time. I haven't been having headaches because of it. I just feel overall happier because I know where I am. I know what I'm doing, and I can just like get on with my time now and just give everything I have to the things that I want to do well at. So Chinese, I need to learn for my partner. My coaching business, I want to become self-employed, so I work on that every day. My gaming and streaming, I want to do well with that, so I work on those every day. And my sleep, I used to sleep a lot longer than I do now because I thought, oh yeah, I'll just catch up on my sleep on the weekend. Actually, that was not doing me any good because I would then be sleeping 10 or 11 hours straight, waking up really late, feeling groggy and terrible, and then not wanting to do anything with my day because I'd have a headache, or, I just felt lazy then. But instead, I've been waking up at about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock on the weekend after the right amount of hours and feeling great. Just carrying on with my day, and obviously on the weekend I have a different routine, but it's still the same things. It's just at different times and for different amounts. Every Sunday I clean for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then that's my cleaning done, apart from obviously the odd tidy throughout the week. But that is my main bulk of cleaning done. And I'm not the type of person... It's also about knowing yourself really well as well, but we'll get onto that later. It's about knowing how you function, because I couldn't clean throughout the week. I would just be like, oh, well, I know that I've got time carved out doing it tomorrow. Oh, well, I know I can do it tomorrow. And it'll never get done that way. So I just make myself do it in the 2-hour slot that I have every Sunday. So habits are formed. If you haven't read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, then make sure that you go and check that out. I can provide the link in the description below. So there's something called a habit loop, which is the cue, the routine, and the reward of the routine. So, for example, the cue is the trigger that starts the habit off. So in an easy way of explaining this would be that you get out of bed, and once you've got up out of bed, the habit starts. So here is the routine part. So that would be the action or behavior that occurs in response to the cue. So after you get out of bed, you make the bed. And then the reward is the positive outcome or satisfaction that occurs after completing the routine. This could look like just, oh, I'm so glad that my bed looks great after I've made it, or my room looks a lot tidier and it makes me feel mentally clarified because of this, instead of it looking like a mess and making me feel messy. But also, one way that I do it is I have a checklist every day, and once I've finished something, I tick it off, and that makes me feel good about myself because I'm a very visual person. So I like ticking things or completing things. I love a good plan, and I love a good goal. So, breaking bad habits. Bad habits are really hard to break because they are also in this habit loop of cue, routine, reward. So let's just take nail biting. I say this one a lot because I myself am a nail biter and have been for years and years, like 20 years, which is why it's so hard. If I'm watching a movie, or it sat in a class, or sat at my desk in work, and I'm bored or stressed, that is my 2 cues. If I feel a certain way, that is my cue to start the nail biting. So the cue is, if I'm bored, if I'm feeling a certain way, that's when I will bite my nail. So the routine starts, which is the nail biting. The reward is that, I don't know why, but breaking something such as a nail is pleasing to me when I feel frustrated or stressed. So that gives me a type of reward or good feeling in my brain that I'm taking my frustration out on something, which is absolutely ridiculous, because what can a nail do, you know? But that's basically why they're so hard to break, because you've already got the loop of a cue, routine, and reward, and it's just finding something to replace the bad habit with as the cue. Not the cue, sorry, the routine. And this is where mindfulness really comes in handy, because when you notice that the cue's happening, for example, we're going to go back to nail biting again. I could sit there and think, well, I'm bored and stressed at the moment, so what can I do instead of biting my nails that will help? I don't know that answer yet, but that is something that I need to remind myself when I feel that way. But you're not going to get it every time at first. You can't always tell yourself or know when you're feeling a certain way if you're so used to doing something as a reaction of the cue. But there is a way to break it, and that would be through mindfulness and recognizing when that cue's happening. So if you did want to make your bed, it would be, right, I'm lying in bed right now, I'm gonna get up in a second, and when I do, I'm going to make my bed straight away. I'm not gonna come back and do it. I'm gonna do it so I can tick it off of my list. And thinking about how good your room looks when your bed is made. Another one could be creating on your lock screen a mood board of, I don't know, freshly made beds. Maybe there's a picture on your bedside table of a well-made bed and how great it looks. It's all about visualizing and thinking about the reward in order to do the routine after the cue. And this will really come into play through the small wins. Once you've done it, you'll feel really good about yourself, and then as long as you repeat it for about 21 days, that's what they say. I don't believe that, because I stopped biting my nails for 21 days and still fell back into the trap, okay? But it is the power of repetition, and the more you do it, the more fluid it becomes and the more natural it becomes in a way. So that is the way of forming a good habit, or breaking a bad one and replacing it with a good one. Another one you can do, this is a strategy now for sustainable habits. Another thing that you can do to really cement that habit into place is by pairing habits, which you have to start the chain off first. So we're going to go back to the bed making. So you want your routine to look like, right, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to make my bed and walk straight into the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face, and then going to go and have breakfast. Easy, right? I don't know about that. But it will make you feel more put together, and you know you've started the day. Then you're prepared for the day. So how you would start that is, first of all, you would pair together the getting out of bed and making your bed, like we previously discussed. And then the next stack that you would do is waking up, getting out of bed, making your bed, walking to the bathroom. Waking up, making your bed, getting out of bed, and no, getting out of bed after you made your bed. No, Nia. Waking up and getting out of bed, making your bed, going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth. And then once you've done that for a while and you're confident in having that routine, it would be waking up, getting out of bed, making your bed, going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, washing your face. And that's how you habit stack, is as long as one habit is definitely bound to happen in your morning routine or in your daily routine or whenever, then you have to make the next habit happen until it's become a natural thing. Another way that you can make sustainable habits is to have triggers. So these could be environmental triggers or time-based cues to reinforce these routines. Let's just say that for environmental, this would mean that you've moved things around to make the habit easier to do. I'm trying to think of a way to do this. So my suggestion for this one would be that when you wake up, you'd get out of bed, and right by where you stand to get out of bed is the things for making your bed. So they're in your way, kind of, in order to get to the next stage. Or having your toothbrush and your face stuff laid out for you to really cement that routine, and then you're not just going to walk straight past them without noticing them. If your items are in a cupboard, let's say, it's going to be less likely that you're going to have that routine or do that action to make the habit. Time-based would be one that I do, and it's having blocks of time for specific things, and as long as I have started something, it doesn't matter how far into the habit that I've gone, it's just that I've performed the habit and I can move on to the next thing. Like I said, with my routine of coming home, I commute and I get in, then I unwind, and then I do my coaching business. And as long as I've done a little bit of that, I feel like I've done what I need to do. So I enjoy block timing. I don't know if that's what it's called. I think it's called blocking. So blocking out pieces of time to perform a specific thing that you have to do, and then as soon as that time's up, you stop and you move on to the next thing. If you are interested in hearing more about this, then please let me know and I will point you over to where you can find it, basically. Another strategy is obviously, to start small and focus on being consistent over being intense. So that's exactly a good link to what I just said about blocking. As long as you've performed the beginning of the habit, then that's completely fine and you should be proud of yourself. It's starting something is always the worst than finishing something. So even if, like I said, in the blocking, even if you start something and you don't get to the end of it, you've still done it. You've still done a part of it and you've still made progress. And that's the most important thing. You don't have to worry about being intense about it, because that might then discourage you from doing other habits that were also meant to be done that day. So we're now going to move on to overcoming setbacks. So common obstacles for the lack of habits in our daily routine would definitely be motivation and perfectionism. I am a victim of both, I have to say, or I was. I can't really say that now. I don't know what it was that got me out of being in a rut about forming habits and being consistent and getting things done. I suppose it was setting goals well and not overloading myself. I always wanted to be the person, this actually loops back perfectly about consistency over intensity. I was always the person that wanted to be motivated, wanted to have my fingers in what's the saying? I wanted to have my fingers in each pie or whatever. Where I needed to like have so many goals going on because I wanted to be so many types of different people that I ended up not being any of them because I just didn't have time and I didn't feel motivated because I had so much that I was looking at to do that I just felt overwhelmed and demotivated. This also ties in with me being a perfectionist, so I not only wanted to do everything, I wanted to do them all well, and then that would be overwhelming, which demotivated me as well. So I would definitely say, to combat this, you just need to keep it simple, have a few goals per month. That's what I've done. So January is my month of really focusing in on my coaching business, and my gaming and everything else is going on the back burner. And then February is going to be a bit more gaming. So I think I'm just going to stick to my streams. I'm not really going to worry much about creating videos. But this is also my month of health. I've got a doctor's appointment to make sure that I'm healthy because I'm still having issues from my injury back in August when falling off a horse. And once that is cleared, then I can, that's kind of like habit stacking. So it's health, and if my health is okay, then I can start horse riding again. But if my health is not okay, I'm going to work on improving that until I am fit and healthy again to go horse riding. It's always about taking steps towards something bit by bit instead of feeling like you have to do everything at the same time. Like I could have gone into January and I could have been like, right, I want to do really well on my coaching business. I want to do really well on my streaming and my gaming. I want to be as healthy as I could possibly be. And I want to start horse riding again despite not feeling well enough to horse ride. Oh, and I want to go to the gym. Oh, and I want to do this. It's not going to happen. It cannot. You do not have enough hours in the day to act like that. Maybe if you're rich and you don't work full time, then maybe, but very unlikely still. So, yeah, my suggestion to you would definitely be just prioritize one thing per month and really stick to it and work on it. If you get that done in the day, you can be really proud of yourself. And if you get other things done in the day, then well done, congratulations. But that main priority is the only thing, or is the biggest thing that matters at that time. And also, when you're starting out, especially, let's just say you don't have the motivation one day, maybe it's the case of, oh, well, I did extra yesterday, so I'm allowed to give myself this day off. It's also okay to have days that you're still not motivated and still feel like a perfectionist. But especially in those times of feeling like a perfectionist, take a step back and be like, well, at least I've started it, instead of just staring at it thinking about how it could be the best thing that I could possibly do. And allow yourself that space to not be a perfectionist. It does take time and it does take patience. You know, you might fall off of it and then fall back onto it, then off of it, but it's completely fine. Just give yourself the time, and at least you've started it, and at least you're willing to make progress towards this thing that you want. In terms of staying on track, I enjoy, like I said, writing it down and ticking it off every day. And making sure that you're planning your next day, like planning tomorrow today, so that you know when you wake up, this is what I need to do, this is where I need to be, boom, boom, boom. You might even reward yourself in different ways, like, oh, if I do this for a specific amount of days in a row, then I can treat myself to this. things like that. And you can also find different apps, different websites to track your progress. You can even make one in Excel if you really wanted to. I made my own in Excel. I don't really look at it now because that was definitely when I was still trying to juggle too much, but I thought that it was manageable. Actually, it wasn't, but we move. So now I'm going to ask you, what are some habits that you would like to form, or are there any habits that you would like to stack? And, why is that? Why do you want to start a habit? What will you get from it if you start it? And why would it benefit you? And similarly, if you have any questions about being unsure on how to start habit tracking towards a long-term goal, I will be more than happy to help you in the comments as well about that. I really enjoy those types of conversations. And we also have a question around this topic from Marcus that says, with regards to hygienic habits like bathing, even if I'm not going out on the town, what would be the best way to stay consistent in my bathing schedule? And why do some folks have a bathing schedule so flexible that sometimes it's not really a schedule, but more just if I feel like it? I'm going to address the second part of that question first. So why do some folks have a bathing schedule so flexible that sometimes it's not really a schedule, but more just if I feel like it? I think the best way to talk about this is to say that every single person on this planet has a different standard when it comes to hygiene. And also, secondly, it could come down to some medical issues that they have as well. I'm going to take my nan for an example. She has psoriasis, so her skin is dry and flaky. So she doesn't shower or bath every day unless she's going out somewhere. Because if she bathed every day, then it would make her psoriasis worse. So there could be that type of hygienic aspect. Whereas if you look at me, I literally feel uncomfortable if I go to bed and don't shower. But that is just something that's been part of my life since I was a child. I always had like a bath before bed. When I was young as well, I used to wash my hair literally every day, and I don't know how my hair wasn't dry, because if I did that now it would be like straw. So I think it's standards and also what your body can tolerate. Like, I obviously shower every day, but I wash my hair every 2 to 3 days because otherwise it would dry out and be in terrible condition because it's not good for you. I expect that there's some science somewhere that says bathing every day or showering every day is not good for you either. There's also some people that I know that will not have a bath because they think that it's disgusting that you sat in your own filth in water, but they'll take a shower, So it's definitely everyone's preference and what they feel is right, and maybe to other people that might not be the right answer or might not be the right preference or I don't know, right suggestion for that person, but at the end of the day it's what that person wants to do. It also depends on like what type of problems you have. Like in my family we have regressing gums. So I obviously don't want that. So I make it every effort to make sure that my teeth stay in tip-top condition. Brushing with the dentist's suggested toothbrush, with suggested toothpaste, with flossing because they told me to. I only floss once a day. but that's enough for me, and my gums, touch wood, looking like very good, and they haven't receded, so it's doing the job. So a lot of my family really have to get in between their teeth to stop their gums from receding. However, Sam has like perfect teeth, never been to a dentist, and got nothing wrong with them, touch wood again. And the dentist even said, like, when he had to go to the dentist for his wisdom tooth last year, the dentist was like, when was the last time you been to a dentist? And he was like, oh, this is my first time actually. And he was like, your teeth are great, you know. It all depends on what your body needs at the end of the day. So the first part of your question, if I'm not going on the town, what would be the best way to stay consistent in my bathing schedule? That would definitely go back to habit stacking and having a cue, a routine, and a reward. So your cue could be, well, I'm thinking about getting into bed. It depends on if are you a morning bather or are you an evening bather? Because if you're a morning bather, you could be like, right, my routine is going to be, I'm going to wake up, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, have a shower, get dressed, brush my teeth, I don't know, and then go to work. Or you could come home and you could be like, I'm gonna come home, do all this, do all that, have my food, work on some other habits, then shower before bed. Is all about like knowing what you need and feeling good and clean when you're in your own house instead of just when you go out to the town. I just enjoy the feeling of being clean getting into bed, because then I don't feel like my bed sheets are dirty. That's just like a mental thing for me, but that's basically the gist of it. I hope that answered your question, and if you have any further questions, then please let me know. So I would say for everyone listening, start with a small habit and commit to practicing it for 30 days, if not 21. Come on, you can get to 21. And yeah, please share your progress if you have any underneath this podcast. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it, but make sure that you're working on your long-term goals by practicing habits every day. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please let me know below by liking it or subscribing to this channel. Also, if you have any other further questions about this topic, please pop them down below in the comments. And if you haven't already, please check out my other videos, which you can find on my channel. I'm also currently reading Journey to the West on this channel as well. I have a gaming channel and I have my coaching website linked in my bio of this channel as well. And I think other than that, I have nothing left to say. So I will see you all in the next video next week. Please keep an eye out today for my next post in the community tab if there's any questions you would like to ask. And I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.